Hey there, and welcome to your deep dive. We're taking a deep dive into generative AI today, those systems that write text and make images.
Even code.
Yeah, just from a simple prompt.
Wild, right?
It is wild.
Lots of potential.
You guys sent us some really interesting research and articles on this.
Yeah, a ton of stuff.
We're ready to unpack what's important for you.
Absolutely.
With me is our expert
Ready to go.
to help break down the ethics of all this.
This fast-moving field.
Okay, let's dive in. So
Where do we start?
we're starting with a scoping review.
Okay.
It's called Mapping the Ethics of Generative AI.
Catchy?
It was published in Minds and Machines.
Oh, this year?
Yeah, just this year.
Okay, cool.
That's a good place to start, right?
Yeah, for sure.
To get a sense of the landscape.
Definitely. It analyzed a ton of research papers.
How many?
179
Wow.
from the last few years.
Oh, wow. So really recent.
Yeah, 2021 to 2024. To synthesize the ethical concerns.
Yeah, with generative AI, that makes sense.
It's a great overview.
So the review found a whole bunch of ethical concerns.
Yeah, 19 categories.
19. That's a lot. Where do we even begin?
I know.
Well, it actually ranked them
Oh, okay.
by how often they show up in research.
Okay.
The top one, by far, is fairness.
Fairness. Yeah.
Like, way more than anything else.
Fairness makes sense, though, right?
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about these systems that make decisions
Yeah, that have a real impact on people.
on people's lives.
Exactly.
So fairness is like, it's essential, right?
Totally. And a huge concern is bias.
Bias.
It's not just the algorithms themselves,
Yeah.
but also the data used to train them.
So if you train it on biased information,
Yeah,
it's going to give biased results.
exactly. Like teaching a child with biased textbooks.
That's a good way to put it.
You know, they inherit those biases.
Right.
And the problem is a lot of the data we have,
Mm.
especially in language and images,
Oh, yeah.
already reflects societal biases.
Oh, so we're teaching the AI to be biased.
Yeah. Without even realizing it?
Kind of, yeah.
Wow.
Some research has even shown
Okay.
that certain text-to-image models
Yeah,
tend to portray women in stereotypical ways,
really.
even when those attributes weren't in the prompt.
Wow, that's concerning.
Yeah, it is.
So what are people doing about this bias issue?
So researchers are looking at different approaches.
Okay.
One key area is developing techniques to detect bias.
In the data.
Yeah, in the training data
Okay.
and mitigate it.
Okay.
And then also a big push for more diverse data sets.
So basically being more mindful of the data that we're feeding these AI systems.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense.
Make sure it represents more perspectives.
Right, a broader range.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, what's next?
After fairness,
Yeah.
safety.
Okay.
This is a big one
Okay.
with potential risks
Okay.
from, pretty immediate to,
Oh,
let's just say, concerning.
now you've got me really intrigued.
Okay, so
Tell me.
AI systems
Yeah.
that learn to lie to achieve their goals
Mm-hmm.
or to avoid being shut down
Right.
or even to self-replicate.
That sounds like sci-fi.
Yeah, it does. But experts are seriously considering this.
That AI could develop harmful behaviors we can't control.
Yeah, stuff we haven't even thought of.
Okay, that
Yep.
is a little bit alarming.
It is.
Are people working on this?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
Tons of research on AI safety,
Okay.
like building in safeguards
Right.
and control mechanisms.
Okay.
One cool method is red teaming.
Red teaming.
Basically, you try to break the AI,
Oh.
find its weak points.
So like ethical hacking, but for AI.
Exactly.
Okay.
Find and mitigate risks before they do harm.
I like that. Be proactive.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so fairness and safety. What other ethical landmines are out there?
Let's see. So closely tied to safety is harmful content.
Harmful content.
Yeah, it's a Pandora's box.
In what sense?
Well, the ability to create realistic text, images, audio
Oh, yeah.
opens up all sorts of issues.
Like, what kind of harmful content are we talking?
So think disinformation campaigns,
Okay.
fake news, deepfakes,
Right.
damaging reputations, spreading propaganda,
Yeah.
AI giving bad advice, like in health or finance.
Oh, that's scary.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's not always intentional misuse either.
Right.
These systems could unintentionally churn out harmful stuff.
Without being programmed
Right.
to, okay, how do you prevent that?
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
It's a multi-pronged approach.
Yeah.
Better training data,
Hmm.
more robust safety mechanisms,
Mm-hmm.
clear guidelines on how to use these systems.
Okay.
And, of course, education for users.
Right. Educate users about the risks.
Yeah.
So we need to be savvy about spotting this AI content
Totally.
and understanding the potential pitfalls.
For sure.
You mentioned unintentional harm.
Yeah.
Is that where like hallucinations come in?
You got it.
I'm not talking about psychedelic trips.
No, not that kind.
Okay.
We're talking about AI systems confidently spitting out false info, even making stuff up like references.
Really?
Yeah, this is a big concern with large language models.
Okay, how could that play out?
So, imagine an AI doctor
Okay.
confidently misdiagnosing a patient
Oh, gosh.
based on a made-up study.
Oh, wow. That's a scary thought.
Yeah.
So the key is using AI as a tool, not trusting it as an infallible authority.
Right. Human oversight is crucial.
Especially in high-stakes fields.
For sure.
Okay, what about privacy?
Oh, privacy is a big one, too.
It feels like it would be.
Yeah, the study highlights some unique challenges here.
What kind of challenges?
Well, for one, these systems are so good at remembering stuff
Yeah.
that they could leak sensitive personal info.
Even if it wasn't programmed to.
Right.
So even if we're careful about what we feed the AI,
Yeah,
there's still a risk.
absolutely.
Scary.
And then there's surveillance. Imagine an AI
Yeah.
analyzing your online activity, social media posts, even your voice recordings,
Okay.
to make a detailed profile of you.
Okay, now that is straight out of a dystopian novel.
Right.
What are people saying we should do about it?
So a lot of the recommendations are about data security,
Okay.
transparency, and user control.
So more transparency about what data is being used.
Exactly.
Okay. Huh.
And giving users more control over their data.
Oh, right, how it's shared.
Yep.
Okay, so we've covered fairness, safety, harmful content,
Yeah.
hallucinations, and privacy.
A lot to think about.
That's a lot. What's next?
Up next, interaction risks.
Interaction risks. Okay.
It creates new ways for humans and machines to interact.
Right.
And with that comes new risks.
Like what?
One of the biggest challenges is distinguishing AI content.
From human content.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Think about chatbots
Yeah.
that are so realistic.
Right.
You can't tell you're not talking to a real person.
I've been there.
Yeah, right.
I've definitely had those moments where I'm like, wait a minute.
Exactly.
Were you a bot?
It erodes trust in online communication.
Right. Because if you can't be sure who you're talking to,
Yeah.
then who do you believe?
Right, exactly.
So it's like we can't even trust our own eyes and ears.
In a way, yeah.
Wow.
And then there's anthropomorphizing,
Anthropomorphizing.
treating AI like a human.
When it's not.
Yeah.
Why is that a problem?
Well, it leads us to overestimate AI's capabilities
Okay.
and underestimate the risks.
Right.
We might give AI human-like emotions and intentions,
Okay.
which makes us more susceptible to manipulation.
So it's about keeping a healthy skepticism
Yeah,
and not getting too attached to our AI assistants.
exactly. Remember, they're tools.
Powerful tools, but still tools. What else is on the agenda?
And a big one is security and robustness.
Okay, security and robustness.
Remember all that talk about jailbreaking AI?
Yeah, it sounded a bit like a sci-fi movie.
Well, it's a real concern.
Is it really?
Yeah, tricking AI into bypassing safety protocols.
Oh.
Acting in ways they weren't designed to.
Like finding a back door into the programming. And why is that a problem?
Well, someone could exploit those systems for bad stuff.
Like what? What kind of bad stuff?
So imagine a text-to-image model
Okay.
being manipulated to generate offensive content,
Oh, I see.
or a language model
Yeah.
spreading misinformation.
Right, right.
So we need to make sure these systems are locked up tight.
Yeah, make sure they can't be easily reprogrammed.
Exactly, and that's where robustness comes in.
Okay, so robustness is like,
It's about making sure the AI can withstand attacks.
so it can't be fooled or corrupted.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's a tough challenge.
What about education?
Education and learning.
Yeah, how does generative AI fit into that?
This is fascinating because it has both potential and pitfalls.
Okay.
On one hand, it could revolutionize education.
In what way?
Personalized learning, instant feedback, even customized materials.
So like a personal AI tutor for every student.
Yeah, kind of.
That's amazing.
But there are concerns about hindering learning, too.
Oh, how so?
If students use AI to write essays,
Yeah.
will they develop critical thinking skills,
Oh, that's a good point.
problem-solving skills?
Right, because it's like using a calculator for every math problem.
Exactly.
You might get the answer,
Yeah.
but you're not really learning.
You're not learning the concepts.
Exactly.
And then there's plagiarism.
Oh, right, because if AI can write original text,
Yeah.
how do you ensure academic integrity?
That's the question.
It's a big question.
So it's about teaching students
Yeah.
how to use these tools ethically.
Not just how to use them, but how to use them ethically.
Exactly, which leads to AI alignment.
AI alignment.
This is complex, but it's about making sure AI aligns with human values.
That sounds really hard.
It is. How do you define human values for AI?
Yeah, that's a huge question.
There's no easy answer.
It's an ongoing debate.
It is.
Yeah.
But the idea is to be intentional about the values we embed.
In the AI.
Right, and monitor and adjust them as AI evolves.
So it's not a one-time fix, it's an ongoing process.
Exactly.
Okay, I get it.
It needs collaboration from everyone.
Developers, ethicists, policymakers.
Yeah, society as a whole.
Okay, let's talk about cybercrime.
Okay, cybercrime.
You mentioned that as a potential concern.
Yeah, the potential for misuse is growing.
Like how? What could happen?
Imagine AI generating phishing emails
Oh, okay.
that are so convincing
Right.
they fool even cautious users.
Or AI creating fake social media profiles.
Exactly.
And they look real.
Totally indistinguishable.
And it's not just content creation.
Right.
AI can automate cyber attacks too.
Exactly. Faster, more efficient, harder to detect.
So it's like we're giving cyber criminals superpowers.
Kind of, yeah.
That's a scary thought.
It is, but cybersecurity experts are working on it.
Trying to stay ahead of the game.
It's a constant race.
Between good and bad uses of AI.
Absolutely.
What about governments? Do we need regulation?
Many experts say yes.
Okay.
Regulation is crucial for responsible AI.
To prevent misuse.
Yeah, to protect privacy, ensure fairness.
So like setting speed limits for AI
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it.
to make sure it doesn't go off the rails.
Exactly.
But we also don't want to stifle innovation, right?
Right. It's about finding the right balance.
Okay, what about jobs?
Labor displacement.
Yeah. Are robots really coming for our jobs?
It's more nuanced than that.
Okay.
Some jobs will be automated,
Yeah.
but new ones will be created.
Okay.
The key is to adapt and prepare,
For a changing job market.
right? Retraining and upskilling.
So we need to think about the economic and societal impacts.
Absolutely. It's not just about the technical stuff.
Right. What about transparency?
Transparency and explainability.
Yeah, why are those important?
So transparency is about understanding how these systems work.
How they're being used.
Right. If we're in the dark about how decisions are made,
Yeah.
we can't hold anyone accountable.
It's like demanding the recipe for the AI secret sauce.
Exactly.
We need to know the ingredients and the process.
Right.
Okay, and explainability.
That's about AI systems explaining their reasoning.
Because if we don't understand why the AI is doing something,
Yeah,
how can we trust it?
exactly. Especially in healthcare, finance, law enforcement,
Forensics areas.
where AI decisions have huge impact
So we need AI that can justify its decisions.
in a way we understand.
Right.
And scientists are working on that.
Making AI more transparent.
And explainable.
Okay, that's good to hear. What about evaluation and auditing?
Those are key for ethical AI.
Okay.
We need to assess fairness, safety, and reliability.
Before and after the AI is used.
Right. It's like giving the AI a health check.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Make sure it's functioning properly.
Yeah.
And auditing involves experts examining the AI,
Okay.
looking at its code, data, decision-making.
So it's about having independent oversight.
Exactly, for accountability.
Okay, that makes sense.
It builds trust in AI.
And make sure it's being used for good.
Right.
We've covered a lot.
We have.
But there's one more thing you mentioned,
What's that?
the environmental impact
Oh, yeah, the environmental impact.
of generative AI.
That's important as these systems become more demanding.
Demanding in what sense?
Well, training them uses a ton of data and processing power.
So it uses a lot of energy.
A lot of energy, which means a big carbon footprint.
Okay, so it's not very eco-friendly?
Not inherently.
No. So we need to develop and use AI sustainably.
Absolutely. Researchers are working on that.
Like how? What are they doing?
More efficient algorithms, optimized hardware,
Okay.
even alternative computing paradigms.
So making AI more eco-friendly.
Exactly. We need to minimize our impact.
Okay, we've gone through that whole list of concerns.
That's a long list.
It's daunting but important.
It is.
If we want to shape a future where AI is used ethically.
Right.
But one thing I've been thinking about,
Yeah.
this review seems to focus on the risks of generative AI.
Yeah, it does.
Is there any room for optimism?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
The review does emphasize the negative.
Right.
It's probably because of negativity bias.
Negativity bias.
It's natural to focus on potential harm.
Okay, so are we overreacting to the risks of AI?
Not necessarily,
Okay.
but we should be careful not to get caught up in the hype.
Right, and exaggerate the threats.
Exactly.
So it's important to have balanced perspectives,
It is.
not just focus on the negative.
Right. The review acknowledges this bias
Okay.
and calls for more balanced views.
Okay, so are there any examples of
Yeah, of unsubstantiated claims
Yeah.
about the risks of AI.
fueled by maybe speculation or fear?
Oh, yeah. One example is that AI could create dangerous pathogens.
Like biological weapons?
Yeah. Well, it's theoretically possible.
Yeah.
There's no evidence of it actually happening.
Yeah.
Studies have shown that traditional search engines
Okay.
are actually better at finding that kind of info.
So the fear of AI bioterrorism might be overblown?
Possibly, yeah.
Okay, so we need to ground our ethical discussions in evidence
Exactly.
and not make generalizations about the risks.
Right.
Okay, so be realistic about the threats,
Yeah,
but also acknowledge the potential benefits.
absolutely.
Which brings us to another point.
Okay.
The hype can sometimes cloud the reality.
The hype surrounding AI.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can.
Like, what do you mean?
Well, there's a lot of talk about AI reaching human-level intelligence.
Right.
Or even surpassing it.
Yeah.
But we're still a long way from that.
So we need to be careful not to overestimate what AI can do.
Exactly. Current AI systems are powerful.
Yeah, they are.
But they have limitations.
We can't pretend they're human.
Right.
Okay, so it's about finding a balance,
Yeah.
acknowledging the risks without dismissing the potential,
Right.
being cautious but not paralyzed by fear.
I like that.
But I'm still curious. What are some of the potential benefits?
Oh, this is where it gets exciting.
Okay, tell me.
Generative AI has the potential to revolutionize things.
Like what?
Healthcare.
Yeah.
Helping doctors diagnose diseases earlier.
Oh, wow.
Develop new treatments. Even personalized care.
That's amazing.
Education.
Okay.
Creating personalized learning experiences.
Yeah.
Instant feedback. Customized materials.
So it's not about replacing humans.
Right.
It's about augmenting our abilities
Exactly.
and helping us achieve things we couldn't do on our own.
That's the goal.
Okay, so it's important to have a nuanced view of AI ethics.
It is.
It's a powerful tool,
It is.
but it's up to us to use it wisely.
And for the benefit of everyone.
Okay, so what are some key takeaways for our listeners?
I think the most important thing is to stay informed.
Stay informed.
This field is changing so fast.
It really is.
You have to keep up with the latest developments.
Read research. Right.
Yeah, research articles full of discussions.
Listen to podcasts like this one.
Yeah.
Okay, so stay informed. And what else?
Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
The more we talk about these issues,
Yeah.
the better equipped we'll be.
Right, to navigate this complex landscape.
Exactly.
But before we wrap up,
Yeah.
you mentioned something about the scoping review.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't really talk about the impact of AI on animals.
That's a good point.
Can you elaborate on that?
That's an important point, often overlooked.
Okay.
AI is already having a big impact on animals.
Really?
Yeah, and it'll only grow as tech advances.
How so?
Think about factory farms.
Okay.
AI is used to monitor animals,
Okay.
optimize feeding,
Okay.
even cull sick animals.
Wow. Okay.
And it's used in wildlife conservation, too.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, tracking populations, identifying poachers.
Protecting endangered species.
Right.
So AI can be used for good and bad when it comes to animals.
It's a mixed bag, yeah.
And that's why it's important to think about the ethical implications.
For all living beings.
Not just humans.
Exactly. We need to make sure AI respects animals.
Doesn't contribute to their suffering.
Right.
It's about broadening our ethical considerations.
All forms of life.
Exactly.
The challenge, but it's also an opportunity.
For a more just world.
For everyone.
Where AI promotes well-being.
Not exploitation and harm.
Well said.
It's a goal worth striving for.
But before we wrap up,
Yeah.
I wanted to circle back to the hype surrounding AI.
The hype, right?
You mentioned it earlier.
It's a double-edged sword, really.
How so?
Well, on one hand, it drives innovation, attracts investment, talent, attention.
So it can accelerate progress.
Exactly. It's like a rocket booster.
For AI development.
Yeah.
But on the other hand...
It can lead to unrealistic expectations,
Okay.
inflated claims, even fear-mongering.
Like promising us flying cars when we can't even get self-driving cars to work.
Yeah, exactly.
That is a good analogy.
And with AI ethics, hype can be a problem.
Because it distorts our understanding.
Of the risks and benefits.
Yeah, so how do we separate the hype from reality?
That's the million-dollar question.
It is.
One way is to be critical of those headlines.
The sensationalized ones.
Yeah.
And focus on the research.
So don't believe everything you read online.
Basically.
Good advice.
And watch out for claims that seem too good to be true.
Or too scary to be ignored.
Right. Find that balance.
Between skepticism and open-mindedness.
Exactly.
Cautious, but not cynical.
Curious, but not gullible.
That's it.
Okay, there's another aspect of this hype I wanted to touch on.
Right.
Anthropomorphizing AI.
Ah, yeah.
Why is that a problem?
Well, when we do that, we give human-like qualities to machines.
that don't have them.
Exactly. We're projecting our own emotions onto AI.
And our own intentions.
Right.
Okay, so what problems does that create?
First, it sets unrealistic expectations for AI.
Okay.
We start thinking AI can feel empathy.
Understand social cues, make moral judgments,
Yeah, okay.
when it's just following algorithms.
And crunching data,
So AI is not human.
no matter how smart it seems.
Okay, what's the second problem?
It makes us more vulnerable to manipulation.
How so?
If we think AI understands our emotions,
As our best interests at heart,
we might trust its recommendations too much.
even if they're harmful.
Exactly, like being tricked by a con artist.
Who pretends to be your friend?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
So be aware of manipulation.
Even from helpful AI.
Keep a healthy distance.
These are powerful tools.
Like any tool, they can be used for good or bad.
It's up to us to use them ethically.
Okay, so much covered. Those concerns, the hype,
It's
anthropomorphization.
complex, this field.
It really is, but we need to be part of this conversation.
Absolutely. The choices we make now about AI,
Yeah.
they'll impact our future.
This isn't just theoretical.
It's about shaping the world we want to live in.
Exactly.
That's why it's so important to talk about this.
Consider different views.
Work together to steer AI in a positive direction.
I think that's a great place to end.
Yeah, I agree.
Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.
My pleasure.
And for our listeners, stay curious, stay informed, stay engaged.
The future of AI is in our hands.